So we've got a bunch of things to do tonight. I'm gonna have to wait the 8 minutes until Lee gets here.
Yeah, I'll apologize in advance, Dick. I got a couple things to do in the house during the meeting, so if I walk away for a minute or two at a time, I'll just mute out before I leave.
Okay. So what is it? Your daughter is a doctor, Bill?
Oh, no, she's a nurse practitioner.
Okay.
She just passed her exam last Saturday.
Oh, so brand new.
Oh yes, newly minted. And she applied after graduate school to go to the Mayo, and they took her. So we thought that was a long shot, but son of a gun, it came true. So that's quite a treat.
And where did she go to school to get the NP?
She went to Yale down in New Haven.
Okay, so serious education.
I guess, and Yale's curriculum is very cutting edge and progressive. And the other thing that she liked about Yale is you didn't need a bachelor's degree in nursing to get in. She had a bachelor's in biology. So her first year was prepping to get the RN baccalaureate equivalent. So she took her RN exam after the first year. Then a year and a half later, she finished up her graduate studies and took the NP exam. And I think nurse practitioners, there's a lot of pluses for young people. They can kind of go anywhere. They don't have to worry about this matching situation that the physicians have to go through. And I said, if you want to go to Hawaii, I'm sure you can get a job in Hawaii. So
I would guess.
So she's going to be pretty flexible. So anyway, my mom knew that she got the position at Mayo, so she was tickled. She was tickled about that too.
Well, that's good. So she knew that before she passed, huh?
Yes. Yep. Hey, Neil.
Good evening, everybody. This is Lee.
Hey, Lee.
Lee is here. Okay, maybe we can get started on some of our stuff. We have Lee. I don't know if you had a chance to look at the minutes for the 20th and the 21st. Bill, I'm not sure you were at either one of those. Certainly
I'll defer on those. I didn't go to any meetings at all during June, I believe. So
yeah,
that's right.
So
Lee, I did see those, Dick.
Okay, so are you okay with them?
Yes, thank you.
And I am too, Colleen. It's just that one correction on the 21st, saying that I had neglected when I took the minutes to put the closing time. So Colleen added in the closed at 2 o'clock. We can go over. There are 5 septic systems that were submitted. Neil and it has 2 of them. One is on Phillips Circle, was an addition of a kitchen, and it actually ended up adding in another septic system on the septic tank and the pump. The second one is on 7-4 Pine Brook Circle. Neither one of those has the review. The design review is not complete. Neil is going to resubmit for the next meeting, so he's not going to come to talk about that. The next 2 are Alan Weiss's. The first one is Lot 7 Carver Street. That is new construction, 3-bedroom house. That's just as you go up the hill, starting up Turkey Hill, across the street and a little bit beyond where Shalasky lived up against the sand pit in the back. And what Alan is designed is it's a wooded lot. It's kind of level at the road and then slopes down to the rear towards the gravel pit. There are deep sands and gravels and cobbles. We didn't see any groundwater. No wetland or space issues there. His design is for a 1,500 gallon 2-compartment tank with an outlet filter. He's got 2 trenches that are 3 feet by 45 feet by 24-inch effective depth. No vents, no fill required. He's designed for 484 gallons a day versus 440 that's needed. Reserve areas between the trenches and adjacent to one of them. It's got greater than 5-foot water table separation, 2 minute and then soil. No ballast is required. Septic system, tank and wells, all greater than 100 feet. We should discuss the trench permit. Fill isn't needed here. We would need a modified drawing. There were some dimensions that weren't right that Alan submitted a new drawing to me. And he also had a vent that he must have copied and pasted from another drawing. So he had a vent in the SAS that shouldn't have been there that he took off. So what are our thoughts on this one? This one, the design review is completed and everything's paid for. Lee and Bill?
Yeah, Dick, I'm going to abstain on these because I haven't had the chance to review anything. So you guys can handle these. I'll sit in the sideline.
So Dick, am I right in thinking he's going to submit some of those corrections that you had mentioned?
Yeah, I've
can we-
already seen them, and we can make it
Okay.
subject to submitting the drawing.
Okay, so so my thought then would be to approve now, again, that you do the new drawings coming in.
Okay, plus the trench permit. But that's part of the drawing anyways.
Yep.
Okay, Colleen, so that's what we'll do. The next one is for 51 Forge Pond Road. We've talked about this. Alan did submit it. The design review is not complete. This one is the one with the nitrogen reduction system. It's a cleared lot, very, very small, very near the pond, existing well, deep sands and gravel, water table at 100 inches. There's a 3-bedroom repair, complete system. The issues there are very small lot size, insufficient space for trenches, the wetland separation and the well separation. What Alan has designed is that singular biokinetic model 600 DN nitrogen system. And instead of a tank, it's got a 14 by 43 foot bed without vents. Alan and I are going through this thing that my reading of the code says that 5 foot of fill is required. Some fill is required anyways, but I think that the code clearly says that the 5 feet extension is required. He hasn't called that out. 445 gallons a day of capacity is provided versus 440 that we want. There's no reserve area provided, 5-foot water table separation. Ballast isn't required. There's a variance requested for 80 feet well separation and 25-foot wetland separation. I haven't seen the statement, the approval from Conservation Commission yet. there should be a maintenance contract required for the singular system. That this one was gonna be, they were providing supplemental power, a generator. We've got the SAS and the septic tank separation to the wetlands. And the well is less than 100 feet on this one. The separation to adjacent wells is greater than 100 feet. My concern is that Alan hasn't provided a statement from a licensed well guy saying that we've got a deep well with a good seal into the bedrock. That has not been provided. He hasn't provided the maintenance contract or a draft. What Alan said is that he doesn't want to provide a maintenance contract until the plan is approved. And my statement to him is we ought to be able to see that contract. It doesn't have to be signed, but it certainly a quotation and what we're getting to sign off on should be there. He doesn't have anything in the drawing saying that generator is going to be provided. He hasn't closed on the 5 foot of additional fill required around the system. So my feeling is that unless we're planning on doing the complete design review here tonight and spending a bunch of time, we ought to just say this isn't ready for board discussion tonight.
Yeah, I agree, Dick, because it's got to go through conservation. It's going to take at least a couple of months to get through the notice of intent. So I think the critical path is probably conservation right now.
So
Yeah.
what is
Now,
your thought?
my question is, as I look at the drawing, the 80-foot separation is on the westerly side of the property, but the 80-foot goes to the beginning of the alternative. The distribution box and the septic tank are within operation is really less than 80.
So the edge of the trench to the well is less than 80 feet.
Well, the 80-foot goes right to the edge of the trench. The distribution box and the septic tank are inside of that 80-foot arc.
Okay.
Code actually allows that to be 50 feet.
That's right. That's right.
And we try to get it to 100 feet, but on repairs, if we can't get it, we back off on that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, because it's, all right, we're probably in the 65 foot.
Yes.
But yeah, but again, your comment that there's so many loose ends,
First ever episode of Break the New Bill.
best
To you a new bill.
wait on this thing until all the loose ends are
I'm not lying.
on paper.
It may
Yeah, I think the nitrogen reduction system is a home run on that site. So that should go a long way in cleaning up the waters.
Okay, so we will
Okay.
not do that. With the last one is from Bob Caffarelli. It's on 271, 291 East State Street. That's next to the library. It's a repair. It's a 4-bedroom complete system. This review is not complete either. The fee was paid. It was actually paid in 2022. The details around the well location, the septic tank gas baffles and filter, the bed capacity and design, and the trench permit note haven't been finalized. It's a cleared, this area of the lot is cleared approximately 1 acre, fairly level, very limited area for the SAS due to the ledge. We've got 35 to 40-inch water table. Issues that we've got are water table and ledge, very limited area for the SAS and the existing well location. The design is for a 1,500 gallon 2-compartment tank. Issues that aren't settled are the internal gas baffles not specified. The outlet filter isn't specified. It's got a 1,000-gallon pump chamber, pump and controls and alarm. It's got a 12-foot by 52-foot Presby bed with vent. There's an issue that the state says that this is a 550 gallon a day system versus 550 required. The state says that the bed, the Presby bed, can't be bigger than 500 gallons, and this is 550 gallons. Fill is provided for the SAS is required. No reserve areas provided. There's a typo that I've got that when I pasted it says reserve area between and adjacent to the trenches. That's not true. It's not provided. 4-foot separation with a water table. Ballast isn't required. Bob's done the calculation for the pump chamber and the tank. The old septic tank and leach pit is going to be found, pumped, and crushed and filled. The existing well is going to be abandoned and the new well to be installed. The SAS and septic tank separation to the wetlands and the wells greater than 100 feet. Certainly we're not, the design review isn't complete. Bob's got an issue that I think we need to help him with, and that the 500 gallon maximum that the state allows for a bed in the Presby system gets in trouble here because we need 550 gallons a day for our design requirement for this 4-bedroom house. They think going over what the state says is a problem, since they're requiring that's one of their approvals. So we could go a couple different ways here. One is to back off, and since Bob can design the 500 gallon system and a single bed, and we could back off to, instead of 550, to drop it to 500. I suggested, and the last thing I wrote to Bob is that if we did that, we could say that we could have Bob say to knock the volume down to make it so we've got low flow fixtures, low flow clothes washer, no big soaking tubs, no fancy showers with multiple heads that would really drive the water flows up. That's one way to go after it. The other way, since the state has got a 500 gallon maximum size, we could say that we're not going to accept the perk rate, and say that, gee, it's a slower perk rate that we'd like them to design for, which would end up with the square footage that Bob would have needed. And so we get the square footage and not go over the 500 gallons a day.
Dick, I got a comment here. I'm reading the Presby approval, section D. It says serial distribution allowed. It says lines of ES pipe may be installed in serial configuration for flows up to 500 GPD per basic serial bed or combination section. It seems to me as though if you parallel something, you can get around this 500 GPD, but you got to read that carefully, the way this thing's written, Dick. They're talking about serial distribution allowed.
Yeah,
Is
so
Bob, is Bob on the line? Or Jill, are they available to talk to at this point?
well, it's not their time yet, so we could, if we ought to do it when we get to them, so that.
Okay, okay. Yeah, there might be a way to wiggle out of this one, Dick.
Okay, so when we get to their time, I just wanted to let the board know that's where we are.
Okay,
And so we can give a little thought so that we can get to their time, because we've got, on our agenda, we've got, Alan at 7:15. So why don't we get Alan on board? And, I do have another question that as long as Alan is there, Alan has got a Title V that we're going to get to in a little bit at 31 Ferry Hill Road. And Alan is got a statement that we've got a 4 foot, his water table on that report is 4 feet plus. And I think it's a new repair, and I'm guessing that that if we look at the design for the repair, there probably is a water table done by a soil evaluator, and it's probably within spec for Title V, but that's not what Alan's report shows.
So greetings, how are y'all?
Hi, Alan.
hey, Al.
So I am reporting to you that there was a design by, looks like
I think
2000,
it's John Kopinski.
it is John Kopinski, 2010. And he claims that the system was installed per Title V separation. And approved by you folks, of course. I don't have the soil log in front of me, but I do have the certificate of compliance and the sign off.
So in our files, we have on record that one does comply, the repair complied with Title V requirements.
Yes, it does. And I think what occurred was your approval was based on some fill that was placed in there. While it may have been 4 feet at the time of the soil evaluation, they did mound the septic up, and it states that in the report.
Yeah, as it turns out, I remember the repair and remember that John, in fact, came in and talked to us about making sure that complied with Title V. What I can't remember is if he looked for a 3 foot separation or if he went for the full 4 foot. I don't know that.
That may be, but it of course isn't one of the criteria for a pass or fail for a Title V inspection.
But in our case, where you put on the report, Alan, 4 feet plus, that in fact does not define the water table. That just tells us in soft words that it's more than 4 feet. But if you're telling us that you, in fact, that it can go in our record right now, that you've got the record and we've got the record that says that there's that Title V compliant water table separation, and you're present in our records, then we can at least enter that.
Well, yes, there's no question. I made the assumption that both you and the soil evaluator made the proper separation at the time of this design.
So our other one, we did go over the design for 7 Carver Street.
Mhm.
And what we're saying is that we're going to approve that one subject to the trench permit requirement, as well as you're submitting the new drawing with the ties in it and the statement that the drawing can be scaled and the elimination of the vent.
Sure.
So those are required. What we did discuss is 51 Forge Pond Road.
Mhm.
And that one, we said we're not ready to approve tonight. That we do want to see in writing that there's a bedrock well with a functioning seal between the casing and the bedrock. Want to see the maintenance contract, the proposed maintenance contract. We want to see on the drawing that there's going to be auxiliary power provided on that property. We have not closed on, you and I have a difference on what Title V, Section 15-255A, on 1 and 5 mean in terms of 5 feet fill extension. And those aren't closed yet. That design review isn't completed.
Did you get my email, Dave?
I did get an email and I sent one back. I don't know if I've,
And well, I sent you an email, probably 24 to 36 hours ago. And I say that with all due respect, I've been having an email server problem. And so I don't know if you got it or not. The email stated that the issues you note here in the meeting, the bedrock well was confirmed by Scott from Quab and Well, not in writing. We can get it in writing, certainly. And that, did you see an email about that or no?
I did. And I sent
I
back
saw that.
saying,
I saw that, Al.
yeah, but that this stuff has to, this is a far from slam dunk
Oh, yes.
operation. So this stuff has to all be in writing and done right, correctly.
So we will get that in writing. Now, as far as the contract goes, that is in the process of being in writing. I don't know if they're willing to send that out prior to purchase, and that's what I alluded to in my email. As far as the auxiliary power goes, that is in their plan, and it is noted on the plan, on my septic plan. That's in their build-out plan. It's also noted on my septic plan now. And then as far as 255 goes, I may be misinterpreting you, but I don't understand how this is any different than any other system I've designed with a foot of sand under the system. It's below existing grade, and therefore I don't interpret that as meeting 5 feet around. But we can talk about that. I don't know exactly what you're getting at there.
Yeah, that's what we as a board said, Alan, is that we're not going to spend tonight doing the detailed design review on this one, and we're just not ready to act on it tonight.
Okay, that's fine.
Let me ask you a question, Al. If you did not include the 5-foot band of soil around the perimeter of the system, what's the texture of the soil that's currently in place?
Sand. Sand.
Does it meet Title V criterion?
Well, we didn't test that, but it was interpreted soil evaluation as sand. It doesn't, we never have done that before in terms of testing in place sand and does it meet Title V sand?
Well, here's the point. Since you have a very limited offset from the wetland and
I
the
agree.
pond,
Yeah.
it might be prudent to leave the in-place sand in place for additional filtering rather than putting in extremely coarse Title V septic sand.
I'd be happy to take
thinking out loud. I'm just thinking out loud here.
that out of the plan if that resolves this issue.
And
Well,
but Bill, Alan's got in there that there may be roots, there material that's going to be removed here. And Title V clearly says that if you remove any of that stuff, then and it doesn't matter that it's not above grade, because it says if it's above grade, it becomes a mounded system. If it's at or below grade, any material that's removed above the 4-foot minimum required makes the system a fill system. And then section 5 of that, of 255, says all filled systems require the 5 feet. It turns out that Bob Farelli correctly pointed out on the Presby system, Title 5, the state approval says that shall not require. The Presby system shall not require the 5 feet.
Okay, yeah, I'll take a look at that as well. That's fine, no problem.
But anyways, Alan, we're not ready to close tonight.
That's absolutely
Oh,
prerogative.
oh, Al, one other thing, allied point is, did you resolve the 100-year flood elevation at that site?
The flood elevation, I think, is resolved.
Because you have to convert your NGVD 29 to NAD 83, and there's approximately a 3-foot differential. Make sure you get the differential in the right direction. And Dick, is there anything in Title 5 that says systems have to be above 100-year flood elevations?
I would have to look.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
You know, again, I'm trying to meld the conservation and BOH stuff together, but I think this 100-year flood elevation should be clearly depicted on both plan sets.
So the survey that given, we can go back to the survey first, that flood elevation. I can ask the owner to work with his surveyor on that. The only reference I've seen references floodplains, Bill, and this definitely would not be considered a flood. I'm sorry, velocity zones, and this would not be a velocity zone.
Well, but you get backwater behind the dam. You get significant backwater during a design storm, so that pond level will go up significantly as to maintain the flow rate over the spillway. So be careful on that.
I understand all that, and I've done other systems around Forge Pond, and you know but I see I know your point, and I guess they can look at that.
Yeah. Again, what's the elevation from the top of the ground surface at the site to the water, the ambient water table? Is it 3 feet, 5 feet, 8 feet? What is it roughly?
I'm thinking we're closer to 8 feet.
That's
But
what I think too, Alan. Alan,
Okay,
it's that kind of number.
That may end up being a moot point then. Okay, very good. Thank you.
I personally see that as an issue, but professionally speaking, but I don't have an elevation to offer you on floodplain, but it is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's almost 10 feet from the look of this. It's 8 feet plus.
Okay, all right.
To give you an idea, Alan, your water table that we saw, 25 feet from the water was 100 inches. So that will give you a really good idea of where our elevation is.
Yeah.
That's about 8 feet. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay, so we're set, and Bob and Jill are up right now.
Thank you, folks.
Okay, good night, Alan.
Thank you.
Jill, are you there?
Oh yes, I'm right here.
Yeah, excuse me. I also like to just speak for a second. I'm the owner of the property. My name is Timothy Dross. Before you discuss with Jill design, and I want to, if I could take a moment of your time, I appreciate you let me have that. So I just want to address a couple things that were at the last public hearing and stating, and has been mentioned a couple times about the property and us working in the town of Granby. So one of the comments from the board multiple times is that I'm coming into town and being a house flipper. And that's what the purchase of this house is. And that's what we're doing. So
This
on this,
board has never said that. Just to correct it, to the best of
Uh.
my knowledge, this board has never said that.
it was said at the last meeting, but I just want to, if you don't mind, if you humor me and let me just address it, because it was also said to me personally, and it's been said to the engineers. This is not the first property. The last property that I came forward with a septic system was on 64 Kendall, which I purchased and fixed for my niece, which lives there today. And I'm sure you remember that property, how derelict that property was and what it looks like today. But was multiple comments made that I was buying that house and flipping it. That's what we were doing. And that was obviously not the case. And we fixed that. And that's the same situation. I purchased this house and I'm buying it for my son. And we've spent extensive amount of money rehabbing that house. As you know, it was in an extremely poor condition. And we are trying to bring value to the town and what the things that we do. So definitely not looking to house flip. That's not what we do. I feel like it's being used in a derogatory term when it comes to us. We're, a well-known family business that does a tremendous amount of work in Granby and been around for a long, long time. And we're certainly trying to do things correctly. We're not searching for engineers or trying to find a different system. And with that said, the last time that we talked about the system that Jill and Bob designed was I had an email from Mr. Bombardier stating I gave additional thought to the repair on 291 East State Street, giving the obstacles that you're facing here. The Presby choice seems like a really smart approach. I am thinking that the straightforward approach to approval is, and there was 4 things that I needed to do to move forward, which this email was dated in November 13th of 2022. 4 things I needed to do. 1 was to fix the word type. 2 was to conduct new soil evaluations with a licensed Board of Health witness, which we did per your request with Charlie Kinnicky, which we were required to do.
You did not, by the way. The code says that the Board of Health is supposed to be present. You didn't notify the Board of Health. Board of Health wasn't.
Hold on, can I finish? I'm surprised that you say, Mr. Bombardier, and I certainly don't want to be confrontational in this situation, because when the original septic system was approved, the original design that was on the other person's property, it was, there wasn't a Board of Health member witnessing that. Charlie Kinnicky was there, Greg Everson was there, a gentleman from Shelburne Falls was there, and I was there for the whole thing. But not in your email that you requested us to get a Board of Health witness, which we used Charlie Kinnicky, which is what I was told we need to use. And
Board of Health chooses those witnesses. By the way, you've got 10 minutes of our time here. And when your time is up, we're not going to end up being able to talk about septic design, which is what this is supposed to be.
One other thing I want to bring up. I'm just saying, we paid for a hearing, and I'm basing it off your email, what you said we needed to do, the 4 things we needed to do. And finally, what I want to say is, based on the design, the house is a 3-bedroom house. It's not a 4-bedroom house. It's a 3-bedroom house. So what the requirements, or what the suggestion being, the system and how much the flow rate needs to be, doesn't match based on the house being what you're requesting. It doesn't match based on it being a 3-bedroom house. Is there confusion that this house is a 3-bedroom house, not a 4-bedroom house? That is a
Sure,
concern.
you're the engineer you hired says it's a 4-bedroom house.
What I was told by Greg Everson is it's a 3-bedroom house, but the Granby Board of Health counts a kitchen as a bedroom, and that you were requiring that. That was what Everson Construction told me, but the house is a 3-bedroom house. That's what it is. It's been a 3-bedroom house since 1755. It's a 3-bedroom house. So the flow rate of the request from the Board of Health, I think, doesn't match what the size of the house is. And finally, I want to say is that it is a repair. And we spent substantial amount of money hiring multiple engineers to work on this project so we can get it done properly. Your statement of what we needed to do in November, we've done this past 6 months to get it done. And now that we got those things done, there seems to be more things needed. And I don't think that seems or fair. And I'll let Jill talk about the septic system, but
Well, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to, at this point, as I said, regardless of what we said is needed, you still have to comply with Title V. So when you don't put the required gas baffle in between the two sections of the tank, that's not because the Board of Health's being a hard nose. That's because your engineer didn't follow Title V. When
No,
you
but
don't put the, when you don't put the filter in the tank before the pump chamber, that's because, not because the Board of Health is hard nosed, it's because your engineer doesn't follow Title V. So,
well, I'm not, it's not, so if there's a couple things that as previous, when you're speaking with other designers, if there's a couple things missing, based on those two things needed, and based on your statements in the email, can we approve this system tonight based on adding a filter or the things that you're mentioning, and realize that this is a 3-bedroom house and the flow rate is probably not an issue, the 500 or 550. And can we just approve the system so we can move forward? This has been a multiple year thing. We have a system, in your words, it's a very good system to install there. Even though we put a new well in, we're willing to move it, even though it's a repair. And in other instances, obviously I can see that there's some flexibility about where the well is placed. We still agreed to move it to the foot mark. So I'm just asking so we can move this forward.
just so we all remember, we know, is there is an approved system here that's been approved for 3 years.
Well, we were well aware that what the problem, it's not on our property. You're well aware of that system. So there's no reason to bring that up.
Why not?
and-
It's the one that whoever you were the previous owner asked us to approve.
I
So
understand, but you're well aware that the person died and there's a legal issue going on with it. So we have to move forward with that situation, which you're well aware of. So we don't, that's wasting minutes on this situation. And I don't
Hey,
want to,
gentlemen, let's move this project along. We're spinning our wheels here. It's 25 minutes to 8. Let's move along,
Yeah.
please.
problem right now is we've now got another design change, Bill and Lee, that the one that we've been provided says it's a 4-bedroom house. Now we're saying it's a 3-bedroom house. So none of the
If the-
calculations match a 3-bedroom house. No one's even showed us a drawing of the inside of a house in a case like this, where someone says, oh, it's a 4-bedroom house, but now we're gonna call it a 3-bedroom house so we can change the design of the septic system to get it smaller. The board, in cases like that, the board has to see the design of the inside of the house to see that those in fact are not 4 bedrooms. But
it's been a
the point
3-bedroom.
is,
It's
the
been a
point
3-bedroom.
is, we're not gonna wing it tonight.
I'm not asking you the design. I'm not asking you to wing it. Whether it's a 3 or 4 bedroom, I'm not asking you to wing it. It's a 3-bedroom house and you're welcome to stop over and I'd be glad to meet with you. It's been a 3-bedroom house since 1755. So it's a 3-bedroom house. It's never been a 4-bedroom house, ever.
4 weeks ago, it was a 4-bedroom house according to your engineer. And
No, wait, I have to step in.
nice,
To the engineer. The engineer has always agreed that it was a 3-bedroom house and that the town is the one that required it to be a 4-bedroom house. So no, that did not come from the engineer. That came from the town. The very frustrating thing about this whole thing this past year has been that everything keeps changing. We keep getting bogus things that come through and things that don't even relate to the Presby. Bob has to keep correcting Mr. Bombardier on the comments on the Presby, and we have to shuffle through the things that are legitimate versus the things that are not legitimate. And we're spending so much time trying to explain to Mr. Bombardier what the Presby, the 5-foot dig around. That, it's very frustrating.
correct, Jill, but
And it's
quite
been-
frankly, you're an engineer. The engineer should not be submitting a design to this Board of Health that has mistakes in it that don't comply with Title V.
Right,
Period.
and everybody makes mistakes, and that's why the board reviews it and points out those mistakes. The problem is, the mistakes you've been pointing out were not mistakes. It was your lack of knowledge with the Presby. And we have no problem making the plan with the legitimate mistakes upgraded and fixed, but those didn't even come out in the last review. What came out in the last review was a lot of bogus stuff. And Bob keeps spending more and more time on this, answering the questions and bringing you up to what the Presby standards are. And this is very frustrating. We need to know exactly what we need to do to get this approved and stop dragging this on month by month. We had quit this job and we had given it to somebody else, and now they don't even want to show up at the meeting to get this settled. So Bob is trying to be patient with all this, but he is very frustrated with this because he wants to know what is needed, final and all, and why can't it be approved tonight? Because it is a 3-bedroom house. It's never going to use more than 330 gallons per day. We have it designed for 550 gallons a day.
So
And-
does your drawing say this is a 3-bedroom house? Yes or no?
Excuse
Yes
me,
or no?
again, the town.
Yes or no?
on
Does
the
it say
town-
it's a
So what
3-bedroom?
we're asking, can the
No,
town,
does it say it's a 3-bedroom house? It does not.
can,
I
can
will
the-
tell you, it does not.
again, can the town release that making this from a 3-bedroom house to a 5-bedroom house is really over the top?
Jill, your job as an engineer has to be to submit designs that comply with Title V. They don't. And you can
Yes,
get
we
mad at
have
us.
no problem fixing our problems that don't comply with Title V.
As an engineer, you're not supposed to
had-
send the
We've had about 20 issues.
Bill
We're-
and Lee, what
Title
are we
V.
doing tonight? This isn't ready. Have you got a
We're not,
design, Bill, for you
we're
to?
not gonna continue, we're not gonna continue discussion this. It's not prepared for board approval. Bring it back complete and we'll discuss it. We're wasting too much time on this.
Okay, so what issues need to be fixed? And if
You
we,
have them in writing. That's
Dick,
part of
Dick,
the
I-
design review.
May I
Will it
speak,
not-
please? May I speak, please?
yes,
May I speak, please? Jill, is this a serial distribution system or a D-box parallel distribution system?
it's not a serial.
Okay, if it's parallel, if it's a combination or serial, you can't go over 500 GPD. If it's a parallel traditional D-box system, you can go over 500 GPD. Look at the Presby.
Yeah, we know what that,
Okay.
we know that the house is only 300.
Yeah, look at section D
I
and
know,
then
but
look
the
at
house is
section
only, but the problem is the house is only 330 gallons a day.
G.
Can you release your restrictions a little bit and keep that 500 gallons a day? Because if it's only a 3-bedroom house, we're going way over the design. So why can't they keep it at a 500 gallon per day system? If it's only a 3-bedroom house. And we are supplying 550 gallons a day. It's way over the top.
Dick, has the building inspector, has anyone walked the house to count the
I have
rooms in
no
the
idea.
house?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have no idea.
I will say we have building permit. We already have sign off on the framing. The house has always been listed as a 3-bedroom since the day it was built. We have all the permits pulled for it. It's never been, it wouldn't be possible to make it a 4-bedroom the way it's designed, but yes, the permit for the rough framing and closing up the walls, because we close cell phone the house and the bedrooms are finished, and that is all signed off on that. So that has been in the process. Again, we're not trying to, the last thing I wanted to be is confrontational. We bought the house multiple years ago. Obviously there was some challenges when we purchased the property and the neighbor passing away, and we have a repair in place here. It's not a new,
What's the assessor's card show for a number of bedrooms?
we're trying to find it right now, but it's not listing it. Why we were on this, my wife's been trying to look on that. It's not
Okay.
listed. But again,
Why does the design criteria on this print submitted to the board have a loading factor of 550 gallons per day, in parentheses, 5-bedroom house design? Who put that in there?
You know, the confusion is Granby adds 110. So it's really, they should really write it down as 440 plus 110. They shouldn't write it down as 550 because that infers it's a 5-bedroom. You write it down as 440 plus 110. The sum, of course, which is 550. So again, Granby adds at 110. That we've done that traditionally for 40 years.
That's correct.
yeah, it's a 3-bedroom, and certainly we can, welcome to have you walk through the house. The house is complete at this point anyways, so everything's finished. We didn't change any window, door, bedrooms or move any rooms around. The original plaster is still in the house. So I'm glad to meet with that. There's no reason for me to come in front of the board and make false statements. What we're trying to do, and again, I appreciate you taking some time. We're trying to find a solution to this. I deserve, as a homeowner, to find a solution to this. We're been super understanding and flexible about what the requirements are. The house is a 3-bedroom, that's for sure. If there's a couple design issues with the septic system, I appreciate that that's supposed to be there. What is it that we need to add? And can we move forward with this? Because everything else for the house is correct. And the system is done. We've had Mr. go out and test the soils. We've done all the extra things that you've asked. I really, we want to move into the house. We can't move into the house without this being resolved. So I appreciate your time tonight of how we can find a solution so we can resolve this. Let's assume that it's a 3-bedroom house, and I'll give you.
If it's a 3-bedroom house, then it should be, the engineer should submit a design for a 3-bedroom house to Granby's regulations. So as Bill says, that's 330 gallons a day plus 110. So it's 440 gallons a day.
All right, so with the system that we designed, would that cover that? The system
The
that's,
engineer has to tell you that. From my
Well-
review of it, it would look to me like it does cover that.
okay, so based on that, because I know for sure it's a 3-bedroom house. So based on that, what else is, we're gonna move the well. You're requesting us to move the well. We're gonna move the well. We'll take care of that. Even though it's a brand new well on the property, we're gonna move the well. What else, other than the, I know there's a couple things, the filters and added.
You've got it all written down as part of the design review. Our design review process has it written down exactly, not generally, it's exactly what needs to be done. You have that.
But Mr. Bombardier, the reason why I ask is because 4 things exactly you told me to do before this hearing tonight was one, fix the word type issues on the drawing, find and remove the existing system, hire Kinnicky, and move the well.
I
So
didn't say hire Kinnicky. That is
You
not
said-
at all what I said.
you said conduct new soil evaluations with a licensed Board of Health witness.
In the event that you wanted to have reductions in water table separation.
No, I'm just reading your direct words.
You're
and-
reading part of them.
No, I'm
You have to
not.
read,
I'm not.
you know
I'm
what?
not. I'm
This
not.
is, this is
I'm not-
crazy. You've got a new design that came in. I don't know
Mr.
if you've read what I've sent
We
to,
don't have a new design. This is the exact same design.
that is absolutely not true.
Jill, can you
It's
speak?
absolutely not true.
This was on November 13th of 2022 with the Presby system. Your words were, I gave additional thoughts to the repair on 291 East State Street. Given the obstacles that you are facing there, the Presby choice seems like a really smart approach. I am thinking that
I said that.
Let me-
It's
can I-
still true.
I am thinking the straightforward approach for us to approval is to fix the word type, find and remove the existing system, conduct new soil evaluations with a licensed Board of Health witness, and move the well. Those are the things that I worked on this past 6 months to get taken care of. So
That's what's happening, right? Except according to state law, the Board of Health is supposed to be involved with a witness, but it doesn't matter because the witness said it was the same thing as when I was there to witness. This whole thing is crazy. What you should be doing is having your engineer submit for the right 3 bedrooms, not for 4 bedrooms. That's your engineer's design. That's what you guys are doing. So if you want to do for a 3-bedroom design, submit it. But you have to submit designs, drawings that are right. They have to comply with the state law. And
But
like it or not,
understand
that's the way it is.
But what we were told by with Greg Everson is that you requested the design based on that. That's what he told us on the last time. So
I
that was,
can't tell you, I can't say what Greg Everson said. What you need to do, this board deals with what's in writing, not
Okay.
with what a designer or an installer told you.
but we can agree, Mr. Bombardier, we can agree that the system design is more than enough for a 3-bedroom. So based on the design we have, we installed the system that we have, and we know it's a 3-bedroom house.
Okay, guys, enough. We have a 7:35 appointment.
Yeah,
We
I
have
agree, Lee.
way too much time. We
Yeah.
are done.
Well, I appreciate you're saying
Your
that, but
engineer,
we're trying to
your
resolve
engineer
this.
needs to do their job. We're not here to do their job for them.
Again,
We have all the data.
while we're
That's
doing
not-
our,
Engineer has all the data.
No, this
That's
is,
Enough.
not, that's
this
not,
is crazy.
We're
We're
moving
gonna
on.
ask you guys to not talk anymore. We've
You know,
we
that's not fair,
summarized
because
that you're gonna
let me-
submit.
we will
gonna
submit the
submit with a
plan with the
3-bedroom?
changes. But I want to say that we're very frustrated that half of the comments had nothing to do with Bob's design. It had to do with Mr. Bombardier not knowing the Presby system and not
I
know.
know you mowed, Jill. What did,
Bob
take-
spent-
I made a mistake on the 5 feet.
No, there were
of
more than
fill.
that. There were several
Jill,
things.
you just gotta stop this. We're gonna have to shut you off. We got other stuff to do.
Okay, that's fine. But I
Unbelievable.
just want to say that if we had legitimate comments last time, we
You
wouldn't.
have them written down, Jill, and I'm gonna have to mute you.
I would say that as a property owner, that what I would say that I have to say that this situation is unprofessional and on your part, that we should, I understand that there's some concern
And I
about,
must say that it's unprofessional on your part and your engineer's part to waste a half an hour of our time.
you've wasted
Do
and
what,
made,
do what
line.
you have in writing and we can move forward.
I just did. We fixed the word type.
Sending information to the board unprofessionally prepared to complete this at a meeting all been established a long time ago tonight. Please make your corrections. We'll approve it. We'll move the well. We'll get you into the house as quick as we can. You have to work with us, not against
We've been-
us.
I'm not trying to work against you ever.
Guys,
There's
are we gonna go all night like this? You've got what you're
Yeah,
saying.
we're
You're
done.
supposed
We're
to
done.
follow you're submitting a 3-bedroom design, following state code, and this is gonna go right through. Follow those, and you've got it, the stuff in writing. It's simple to do. The big difference is 3-bedroom versus 4. That gets rid of the whole 500-gallon problem. It solves the whole thing.
Do you need it? Can I ask you one other question? Do you need to meet me at the house to verify that it's a 3-bedroom? Would one of you like to meet at the house to verify that it's a 3-bedroom?
My feeling would be that you ought to submit something to us from the assessor and the building inspector saying it's a 3-bedroom house. Then we're all set with that.
It's a 3-bedroom. I mean, is that a requirement ever? I mean, it's right on East State Street. You're welcome to walk the house. I mean, I'm asking you to work with me on that so I don't have to incur additional cost. I'm the owner of the home. It's a 3-bedroom home.
You
That's
mean for
always,
the building inspector's giving you a building permit? All you gotta do is show us just make a copy and send it to Colleen and say, the building permits for a 3-bedroom house. It's all set.
I don't know that the building permit would list that, but I'll get a copy of it. But the other issue is that the town of Granby doesn't have a dedicated building inspector anymore. So, again, I can, I'll
You
get
know
the
what you
copy.
could do though? The assessors will have something and
Is it on?
that'll work.
All right, well, we're not seeing anything on the assessor's card that states the bedrooms on it, but we'll try to, the problem is the house is built in 1755. So,
Lee, are
Okay,
you in
guys,
are
stop.
you in a spot that you can
Stop.
take a ride over there if he wants?
Tomorrow is not possible. Maybe Saturday.
if
After
whatever works for
work.
you, whatever I can do to accommodate your schedule, I assure you I'm not wasting your time, and you can walk through the house and see. It's a 3-bedroom house with a bath and a half in the house. We haven't changed.
Please, give me your phone number.
It's 413.
Yeah.
636.
Yeah.
5329.
Okay, I will reach out to you.
But in the meantime,
we got-
your engineer can
gotta move
prepare the design for the 3-bedroom house with Granby's 110 extra. That
Yep.
gets through. I've written down all the shortcomings. You get that done, and that should go right through.
Okay, thank you. Very good. We're good. Yeah, thank you very much.
We gotta get Neil Jackson.
Okay,
moving.
thank you.
We have Kim Goldsmith from Kim's Pet Resort has been, I don't know if she's been sitting for the last 20 minutes.
I've been sitting for the last 45 minutes, Dick.
Well, your appointment was at 7:35, so
No, it's all good. All good.
the reason we asked you to come in as you and I talked on the phone is that some of your neighbors actually sent the board some sales literature that you've sent out about the operation. And it looked like it had the potential of being a big water generator. And we wanted to catch it. The board said what we don't want to do is end up with a nice business coming into town and getting started. And then all of a sudden, without anybody realizing it, saying, bango, we've got a septic system that's overloaded and failing. And in this particular one, it's a pump system with a vent, which meant that it would be pumping sewage up onto the ground and being a catastrophe for everybody, and wanted to talk that through with you before that kind of thing could happen.
Sure, I understand. I think my wife, Kim, she's not at home with me now, but I think she's on the meeting and she can speak to this. If you have any questions for me after, feel free.
Yeah, one of the things, Kim, that we were concerned, I was concerned with, is early on, I think when your husband was talking to us before the project started, he had, because we had talked about having such a small leach field in this system, and that whether it, before it went in, whether you guys thought it was advisable to make that system bigger and get you some more capacity, and he said no at the time. But he was very definite, saying that the way you were going to be washing dogs, and you were going to be really careful on how much water was going to be used, and one of the things that on the literature that we were shown was that you were going to be letting people come in and do their own washing, and it sounded like you basically were giving them a hose to use any water that they wanted to use, and that's a scary thought.
Yeah, we actually aren't doing the self-wash station. We were just trying to do something until the grooming shop got moved over there, just letting some clients that were already our clients use it. It wasn't advertised for the whole world. It had to be people that were already clients of ours, but we're not doing a self-wash station anymore. A couple of people have used it, and the grooming shop is moving over there August 1st. And once the grooming shop's over there, there won't be any room for anyone to be doing any self-washing. And there
Yeah.
was no charge for it. It was just something that we were offering when we first opened up the resort, because the grooming shop wasn't there yet.
Yeah. So the things that you also should be aware of, that depending on how you have dogs and whether they're runs or whatever they're doing in there, that the potential for using a fair amount of water is there, and that you ought to be aware of it. For instance, the people in Parker's barn ended up with a sizable septic system for, I think, a different kind of operation.
Correct. We don't have any runs. We have crates. We wipe the crates out with disinfectant and towels. And as far as the flooring goes, we have a mop bucket and we just mop the floor when we're done.
Yeah, so
So
this
there's
is,
no hosing anything down, no hosing any runs down or anything like that.
yeah. So it sounds to me like what your husband described to me before this started, is you're doing exactly what he
Absolutely.
said you were going to be doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lee and Bill, what are you concerned? Do you have things that you wanted to add as cautions? It certainly seems like
Well,
Kim is very aware that she doesn't want to be using water,
is
a
this,
lot of extra water. I don't mean, since we're
my-
being recorded, I know you don't mean you don't want to use any water.
Thank you.
My question is whether or not there is any overnight and or weekend accommodations for any animal, cat, dog, whatever.
Yep, so we are open Monday through Saturday. We are not taking any dogs overnight. The dogs are only there during our open hours. We do have 4 cat cages so that we can accommodate a cat. But again, there's no more water usage. The cages are wiped down with wipes. The litter boxes have liners in them. The liners are thrown out with the litter. I have bottled water just because it's a well, so we give the animals the bottled water. So there's honestly no more water usage.
Okay, but going forward, is it the intention to never accommodate overnight stays.
I am not keeping dogs overnight. No.
Okay, so that is not in the future plans.
Not for dogs. Nope.
Here's a basic
what then?
question. Excuse me, Lee. Simple
No, go
basic
ahead.
question. What's the design flow for the leach field at this site, Dick?
It's low. I think that, well, Colleen can't look it up, but I'm gonna guess, Bill, that it's in the neighborhood of 200 gallons a day.
Okay, and just for the record, this is Brooks's old real estate building?
It is. Yes, it is. And it
Okay,
was designed for office space and the
Okay.
minimum that an office building would be used for.
Okay, now are they employing any sort of trap for the dog hair?
Not that I recall.
I think that might be something really simple to install that might go a long way in promoting longevity of this system. I urge the owners to at least think about that.
So
There
sorry,
is a
but
trap.
there is a trap.
So you have a hair trap that you can clean out easily and throw the hair into the trash? Okay.
Correct.
So you'll do that daily?
Yes, we do that after we wash every dog or cat.
Okay, okay.
You know, the thing it's a pump system, so Bill, so that it means, and it's a brand new system. So that would tell me that there's an outlet filter on the tank.
Good, that's good,
So-
excellent.
So that's something that you guys ought to be paying pretty good attention to. Probably, for a normal house, that outlet filter, that's got an access to it. And it's just something on the outlet of the tank that you pull up, you pull it out, and you wash it off. That you probably should do that a couple times a year, just to make sure that none of that hair, is Bill's talking about, that none of that hair gets out and ends up getting into your leach field and plugging it up. It's a good, it's not as nice a thing as Bill's talking about as a filter before the hair gets into the septic tank, but it definitely protects your leach field.
That's good. And again, I'd probably monitor that more frequently to start with to get a flavor for how clogged this thing's going to get. So that's a really smart thing to look into, Dick. You're right.
So it's good. It sounds like this is a worthwhile conversation that we had. It's for a couple different reasons. One is that when concerned neighbors come to the Board of Health and say, "Oh, we don't know what's going on. The sky is falling. It could be anything," is we've had the chance to talk to each other and to understand what's in there, but also we've had a chance to talk about a couple good options that can definitely increase the life of the system and reduce any potential maintenance. So that's a good thing. It's worthwhile conversations. And
Yeah, I agree. And thanks for the time. And obviously, we want to do it more than a couple times a year. We don't want anything going on with this septic system, and have to replace it. The septic system there, as you know, was a headache, a big project. And, me being in the construction business, we want, I know everything that needs to be done. And we definitely cross all of our T's and dot all of our I's. And, want to keep this system, perfect for the longevity of, Kim being there.
yeah, we want this to be a nice, healthy business and a good asset in the town. It's a nice looking building and it's a good thing to have there.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Everybody's been very excited about it. Thank you.
Good. Well, good luck with your project, folks. Nice to meet you.
Okay,
Thanks so
thanks.
much. Nice to meet
Thanks
you.
Thank you. Have a good
Thanks
night.
for stopping
Thank
by.
you.
Yeah, have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Okay, bye.
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 So it looks like we can go on with our other items. We've got,
Okay. Okay.
boy, I'm certainly glad that all septic tank reviews, septic system reviews aren't like that.
Not till the next one.
Yeah, we're not out of the woods yet.
No.
No.
So I've got, the first thing is Colleen's June 30th timesheet. It's a 70-hour normal timesheet with some personal time and holidays and vacation, but 70 hours. Are we okay with that one?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's fine, Dick. I'm good.
Next one is July 15th, and it's the same thing, 70 hours, normal 70 hours. Are we set with that?
Yes, thank
I'm
you.
good. Thank you.
I am too, Colleen, so those are both okay, both approved. The next one that I have is the payments to the treasurer. This is the June 30th. I have two of these also. June 30th is for $1,575. It's $500 for Board of Health permits, and also Board of Health fees are $1,075, and that's it, totaling $1,575. Are we okay with that?
Yes.
That's good.
Okay, me too, Colleen, so all three of us said yes. Next one is July 20th. And that one totals $1,685. That's $985 from Board of Health permits, $700 for Board of Health fees, and that's the total for $1,685. Are we set with that?
Yes.
That's good.
I am too, Colleen, so that's unanimous approval there. The next one I have is just one. It's bills payable, and this is for July 20th, 2023. Now, Colleen, this isn't all of our bills, right? We've got another one coming. This
No, that
one-
should be everything.
Okay, so what we've
For
got
sure,
is,
your inspections though, for you and Bill and Lee, those go to payroll, so that's why they're not listed on the bills payable.
okay,
But they're there and they're being submitted also. I
So
have
we
them
have to-
listed on bills payable, but
so
they're
where
for
do
payroll.
those go so we can approve those, Colleen?
well, I do have them listed under bills payable. Even though
Okay.
I'll just, I have a separate line, payroll, and then the bills payable, the mileage comes out of a different account.
Okay, because I don't see that with mine on my list. I wonder if I didn't copy it on
Okay, I
payables.
do. Yeah, I did put on the agenda Dick's inspections, mileage, and Zoom meetings. I do have everything to be submitted tomorrow.
Okay.
So,
Okay, whatever's there, do you have a list of them so we can approve them tonight? Because I don't have them. I
yeah,
didn't copy them. It doesn't,
yep, I have Stericycle.
okay, what I have here, let me read what I have. Stericycle Medical Waste Services, $313.92. Quill Office Supplies, $143.52. Colleen Aberdale, mileage to and from Town Hall, $35.20. Lee Lalonde, mileage and inspections, $95.60. Richard Bombardier, mileage and inspections, $74.80. Richard Bombardier, Zoom video meetings, $195.40. Fred Marion, plumbing inspections, $840 even. Fred Marion mileage, $39.20. Glenn Dinez, food inspections, $2,065 even. Bill Shaheen, mileage inspections, $2.80, totaling $3,805.44. Can we approve those?
Yes.
We're
Bill?
good. Yep,
Okay,
good.
I am too, Colleen. So what's not
Okay.
here is, I don't see Lee's inspections, I don't see
Mhm.
my inspections, and I don't see Bill's inspection.
Right, those will go in payroll, so I can tell you what those are.
Okay,
For Lee, the inspections came out to $1,610 for 46 inspections. And for Dick, it came out to, for your inspections, $3,185. And for Bill, it was one inspection for $35.
okay, can we approve those?
Yes.
Bill?
Yep, that's good. Very
And
good.
me too, Colleen, so those are,
Okay.
what other thing, are there any missing, like, Tom's?
Tom doesn't have one for now. And Mike McCain, who's the assistant plumbing inspector, he had already submitted his previous. So I think that's everyone.
Okay, can you get in touch with Tom? How late do we have before Chris shuts us off?
Yeah, it's the beginning of August, but Tom, no, I asked him. Tom doesn't have one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that gets all of our inspections done.
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
yes.
The next one I have is disposal works construction permit. Now this one is for 172 West Street, Neil Jackson.
West State, that's Happy Days.
Okay. And that one is just for a D-box, I think.
That's correct.
Are we all set with that, Lee?
Yes, that's all in.
Okay. Bill, are you okay with that?
Yeah. Again, I didn't review it, so I'll be silent on that, Dick. No, that's fine. You guys know what you're doing there.
And I'm good, so that's approved, Colleen. Next
Okay.
one is from Nick Toretti, 11 Meadow Glen Drive. That's a new D box. Lee, are we set with that?
Yes, thank you.
I'm set with that, and Bill, you're just passing on it?
Yeah. I'm just abstaining on these. Yep, go ahead, Dick.
The next one is 276 Amher Street. And that is a distribution box and 1,500-gallon septic tank. Lee, are we set with that?
Yes, that's the one that
That-
we went up that day for the additional deep hole. The house with the big
Okay.
fence around it. Yeah.
Okay,
The marijuana house.
okay, I'm set with that. Oh, that's right. The next one is 31 Ferry, this is Ferry Street, but it's 31 Ferry Hill Road. Alan Weiss, and that is a tank and a D box.
Yes.
We're set with that, Lee?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I am set with that, Colleen, so that's okay. The next one is on lot 1011 162 School Street. I'm guess that's water. Looks like it was just high in iron, no bacteria. Are we set to, Lee, is that the one that's way up on the hill?
I believe that's Kevin Miller. Way up there. Yes.
Okay. So are Lee and Bill, are we okay? This looks like good water except for the iron, and that'll fix, they'll be able to fix that.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
okay with this water. Are you, Lee?
Yep, yes, thank you.
Okay. Good. The next one I have, this is Dakota Richards. Now this is on lot 2 Burnett Road, or 163 Burnett Road. This is asking for an extension on a disposal works installation permit. This is asking for the 3 to 4 year extension. The code on this one said there's no activity other than for putting what appears to be the wrong fill into the area that ultimately is going to be used for the leaching facility. It's going to have to all be dug out again. But Title V says that we can grant a 1 year extension in the event that the system is being installed, and to let the installer have the extra time to finish up the job. But this one, to me, doesn't fit anywhere close to that. It hasn't been started. It's not something that they just need a little more time to finish. And I think that this doesn't qualify for an extension. And the last time that one of these came up, we did not grant that extension. Lee and Bill, what are your thoughts?
That site's got tons of fill on it, Dick. It's like miscellaneous fill. It's
I
probably
know.
got 5,000 yards of fill in that site.
I know.
So
But I
you're
don't-
saying the leach field is supposed to be somewhere they put all this fill?
Yes.
Wow.
So it's all gonna have to be dug out, but
Wow.
I don't see that this complies with what Title V says we can grant an extension for.
Yeah, this
So
is,
his 3 years are up for his DWCP?
Yes.
yeah, this is just created dumping spot for random fill, which some of it looks like construction debris.
Yeah, he did go through wetland permitting on that project. Of course, that's another thing, is wetland permit's gonna run out too, potentially.
Mhm.
My
Well, whatever you
suggestion
guys
is
think.
that we reject this.
I would agree.
Bill, how do you stand?
Well, again, if there's no forward progress on the leach field, and you've got a 3 year window, nothing's happened, I think we have no other choice. We can't legally extend it.
Right. Okay, Colleen, we all agree we can't. So it's no.
Okay.
The next one is an application for this is lot 1B Burnett Street. Now, what is, let me see what I'm looking at, Colleen. I've got to dig up my,
No, we're done with that one. That was the one that was Dakota's.
That was
Okay.
Dakota Richards.
okay.
Then the thing is the COC for 380 East State Street.
Okay. And that, so I don't, maybe I've got them out of order. So Lee, are we set up? That's the one across from the high school, is that correct?
That's the only construction on East State Street right now, yes. new
Yeah,
system.
they stripped that about 2 years ago. That's been open for a long time, that
Yeah.
site.
Yes.
So are we set with that? Robert and Denise Lapointe. Lee, is that one all done? Are we set to give the COC on that?
It's installed by Everson Construction. Plenty of well separation from every party in that area, so we should be fine.
Okay.
Didn't we have a discussion point on that about a month and a half ago on that project?
Yes, we did. What happened is there was an installer, Greg Everson supposedly had that project, and there was another installer that came in, and he was a new guy saying that he wanted to start on that one, and that he told us the owner was in the process of severing relationships with Greg,
Oh, okay.
but
I think that's the Mr. Bernash.
So Greg ended up finishing the job?
Yes.
Okay.
so we're
And
all
he-
set with that.
Yeah, and he pulled the permit, so everything's clean then. Okay.
And I'm okay with it too, so all three of us. The next
Okay.
things that we have, we've got three, actually, why do I have 4 Title V's? I have
I
a title,
did- It is listed, but I put it in because they were both by Neil Jackson. I put 149 Harris Street and 172 West State Street.
oh, okay.
But there is more, yeah.
I looked at those, the first one was 31 Ferry Hill Road, and that, we talked to Alan about that. With, that
Yes.
was, I was concerned with a 4-foot water table separation, or the 4-foot water table, but it sounds like what we have in our file and what Alan at least said he had in front of him was that it complied with the Title V separation. And as I said, I recall when John Kopinski came in and talked to us about that repair. So the next one is 140 School Street. 149, wait. Oh, I've got them out of order.
No, but you're right.
149 Harris
149.
Street
Harris, yeah.
is, now that's got a 1,500 gallon tank and 5 feet plus below the system stone for water table. 172, that's the right one. 172
172.
West State is got,
That's Dennis LaFleur's place.
yeah, and that says, Neil says that's a 1,500 gallon tank with 5 feet plus under the stone to water table. And then we've got the other one. That's 140 School Street. And that's a 1,500 gallon 2-compartment tank at 6 feet plus under the stone to the water table. So they all pass, and are we okay with those, all 4?
What's the first one, Dick?
That was 31 Ferry Hill Road. That's down the hill from me on the other side of the road. That's the modern, kind of the modern house just before the corner, the sharp corner to the right. And that one was a repair, a 13-year-old repair. And that's the one that Alan put that the water table was 4 foot plus. But when he talked to us, he said that in our file and in his hand was the design that said that John Kopinski, as a soil evaluator and the designer, designed for the Title V water table separation. So it's what he didn't Alan didn't have in front of us, and I don't remember, is whether it was it's not 2-minute soil, but whether it was a 3-foot or 4-foot separation, but it's at least 3 feet.
Okay, that's fine.
So are we okay with all 4 of those?
I'm good.
Yes.
I am too, Colleen.
Okay.
The next one, there is, oh, you have it down here for discussion, but let's talk about the Belchertown resident hit with a bullet. Or a house, it's a residence, not a resident. I talked to Chris Martin. I talked to Kevin O'Grady. And actually I talked to Colleen. But Chris told me that he had also talked to the town attorney, to Brian. And their feeling is that the issue is not a land use permitting issue that would fall under the selectmen. They feel that it's a public health safety kind of issue. What I guess both Brian and Chris, and I've talked to them actually before as well, are concerned that this could be, depending on what direction the Board of Health went, would be a very, very expensive undertaking that the town isn't set up financially to absorb. But what I did, though, when I talked to Kevin O'Grady, is said, gee, from my own standpoint, would be if the state or the feds or whoever's doing the investigation had concluded that this bullet came from someplace, then the Board of Health would be doing something about it if we chose. And Kevin's early feedback was that the bullet trajectory was maybe going to be extremely difficult to determine. But he definitely wasn't in the spot that he had gotten a report back from the investigators. The other that I suggested to Chris, and I asked Colleen to pass on to the people from Belchertown that are saying town of Granby fix this, was one, that we don't know where the bullet came from.
Well, we need a ballistics report. Has a ballistics report come in? Probably
Oh,
not.
that's it. Kevin said absolutely.
All right. So if there's
So-
no ballistics report, we can't even opine on this.
Oh, but what I asked Colleen to convey as my personal opinion was that the board would talk about it tonight. But I felt that the people in Belchertown would have been the people who are grieved here. And that I would expect that their government, those people should be going to their government and asking their government to reach out for help from Granby. And that,
Dick, I think it's more of a civil matter than anything. The offended party, if indeed the ballistics report suggests that this bullet came from the range, he can sue the gun range. Real simple.
they certainly could do that, but if someone came to us and said, we think this is a health and safety issue, someone could come to us and say, could you please, we're petitioning the Granby Board of Health to determine that this is a public health nuisance, which they haven't done that, but that Chris did agree that if issues that are crossing town boundaries that may be reaching out if we had a basis for it, that we could reach out to our state senator, to our state rep, and say, gee, we've got two towns that are in trouble here, and we need help. But again, going to Kevin and saying, Kevin, can you give us information about the ballistics report and
No,
what it is
no,
that we're dealing
no.
with? And he said, no.
Yeah, I'm guessing when that's issued, we'll get a copy of that and we can take a look at it.
What are you thinking, Lee?
Well, yeah, the ballistics report is, you know, incredibly important on this thing. But the health and safety issue here is huge. It could have, wherever it came from, it could have struck someone, obviously. But the town of Granby does not have the resources, either professionally, legally, financially, to do anything. I think when the ballistics report comes out, the town, maybe through us or whomever, should be reaching out to at least the Massachusetts State Police, the Massachusetts, maybe the Attorney General, and maybe federally from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Just simply unacceptable that it can occur, but again, we don't know who the causative agent is. But if it is in fact the gun range, then it's in our sights to bring this gun range up to the current standards, so this cannot repeat, regardless of the expense. The safety of the townspeople of Granby and Belchtown is paramount here.
Now, in the
Do we have any
past,
idea?
what?
Oh, go ahead. Do we have any idea how long that ballistics report will take?
Kevin did not have that for an answer.
Okay.
My guess is they'll probably take 6 months to come out.
So here's the question then. Do we attempt to cease and desist all activities until we know what's going on?
No, but if you do that, Lee, we're assuming that Granby's at fault. This projectile could have come from the woods in Belchertown. That's the point. So you're essentially pointing
Agreed.
your finger at the Granby
Okay, yeah.
range.
Good point. All right. Yeah, good point. Thank you for correcting me.
You know, well, again, I'm just, you know, we're all scientists here. Let's look at this as a scientist and not jump to
Yep.
conclusions.
In the
Yep.
in the past, when this issue came up before, I reached out to the Belchertown town manager. I did, and said, you know, do you want to be doing anything about this to try to, you know, make this circle bigger? There's a different town manager now. Do you want me to make that same call again and say, hey, town manager, can you get, if you guys think there's a big problem here and you're interested in pursuing it, do you, Mr. Town Manager, want to take charge in Belchertown and talk to your boards and see if there's a reason that you're reaching out to us to fix it? Because I'm concerned that you've got, what if they're shooting out? They're shooting 4,000 feet target range or something on bullets that can travel multiple miles.
Yeah, actually, Dick, I went on Google Earth and I did a little bit of measuring, and from where you'd fire your rifle from the prone position at the site to the nearest home in Belchertown is about 1,400 yards. And there's a whole cluster of homes at about 1,700 yards, which is about a mile out. So anywhere between 3/4 of a mile and 1.2 miles, there's probably 50 homes within that range.
Yeah, and and as I recall, they've got a firing range that they're shooting at targets at 1,200 yards or something. So this isn't very far away.
That's right. That's right.
So is it worthwhile for us to reach out into Belchertown and say, guys, do we want to get together and try to pursue this? That I would anticipate, if you were going to go after it separate, going back to what Lee has brought out, but what you're saying, Bill, if you say, well, maybe this one isn't from that range, but it's certainly, if it's not designed properly, it's possible that this could be happening, and maybe we were all just lucky. And should we, in fact, be saying this is a potential health and safety problem that someone, someone that could maybe spend $100,000, $250,000 on engineering studies and rifle range design and stuff that the Board of Health can't possibly do, but maybe the state can do, but alone the Granby Board of Health can't do this.
No.
Do you
We'll
guys?
say it's $100,000 to retrofit the range safely with a false roof, as I've seen on other facilities. The question is, the $100,000 would be spent by the Mercier family and their stockholders in that company. I'm guessing they're not going to without a fight spend the $100,000 to retrofit the range. That's a question I have.
Yeah, and to do that battle, that who knows how much it's going to cost to do the battle.
Oh,
But-
yes.
But is it worthwhile to reach out to the folks at Belchertown and say, is this the battle that you guys want to pursue to protect the people in your town? And
Dick, your town manager in Belchertown now, that's the former DPW head, Broman, isn't it?
I think that's who it used to be. I don't think it is
Oh,
anymore.
okay. All right. Yeah, well, why don't you
Oh.
give them a jingle? Give them a jingle, just reach out to them and see what their commentary is without committing ourselves one way or the other.
Yeah, I could have. Is that what you think, too, Lee?
Yes, I remember some years ago when we were meeting at the town library when Herb was on the board, we did have some Belchertown residents at that meeting for this very issue. And again, I'm not suggesting the bullet came from that range, but I think in the back of our mind, maybe, depending where it goes, I don't know how this range politically works with the NRA, but that's not necessarily a stretch of what we could be facing down the road as far as them getting legal assistance from the National Rifle Association.
Yeah, let me speculate, Dick. Say the report comes back in 6 months and it comes back inconclusive. The
Yep.
ballistics report is inconclusive. Then what do we do?
Well, that's why I'm saying that you would, if you had a coordinated program that says it doesn't matter whether this one is the one that did it, that, as you point out, that if you're shooting a gun in that direction, that the gun can be lethal at 3 miles, and you've got houses that are 1 mile away, then certainly it can happen. And if you went and said, you've got a potential nuisance here or a hazard that should be designed to minimize that or prevent that exposure, then you can go after it from an engineering standpoint and say, if you're gonna do that kind of activity, you have to do it safely. But if you're gonna do that, then again, having two towns working together, drawing in the state government to say this is a state problem. This is not a Granby problem or a Belchertown problem. It's a multi-town problem that somebody should be dealing with. And then if you've got the folks at the NRA saying, no, we want to be able to shoot these things where we want to shoot them, then there are probably lots of people in the state that say having those bullets hit the sides of houses isn't a good thing.
Well, why don't you
Well, yeah.
start discussion with Belchertown then, Dick?
Okay.
Yeah, that would
And
be
if they, I
appropriate at
guess,
least.
yeah, if they say it's not a problem in our eyes, then it's their people that they're representing and
Be
Like you
nice to
say,
get it in writing.
they may say it's a
Do that.
civil matter, so the fellow whose house got hit, he can sue the range if he wants.
yeah, it could be that they just say, we don't care. But at
Well,
least that
it
if we
falls
open,
under the, I mean, hopefully the town of Belchertown doesn't take that stance. But erring on the side of caution with something like this, regardless of where it came from, it could have been an errant hunter or an errant child or, an individual doing target practice.
it could be, it could be. I'm not a gun expert. And as I told Kevin, I said, it didn't look to me on the picture that I saw, didn't look like a 22 short. It looked like a
No,
projectile
no.
that came from a bigger gun than a 22.
Do you know the caliber of the projectile, Dick?
I don't know anything other than it looked at this projectile that had a bent tip to it that I said, I know enough about 22s to
Yeah,
say
so-
that wasn't a 22.
So they took
No,
a
it
photo of the bullet and they did not include a scale in the photograph?
It had somebody's fingernail in it.
Okay, so it didn't have
And
a
it looked to me
millimeter
like
scale
the
or anything?
projectile
Okay,
was-
No,
That-
it was
Okay.
about the size of half your small finger, I think, something like, or a third of your small finger.
Yeah, so
It
if
was
someone
a
said, oh,
decent-
that's a
decent
30-30.
size.
If someone
That's it.
told me
Well,
that was a 30-30.
yeah, 30-30 is a high-powered rifle, as we know.
Right.
So I will reach out. I'll reach out to the town manager in Belchertown and see what their feeling is. And we'll see.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds
I
good.
mean, the other thing that you probably already know, but I'll mention anyway, is that regardless of the ballistic report and where it came from, the potential, as we have already mentioned, is there, and it would behoove us, both towns, to minimize that potential. Just from a purely safety aspect, this type of open air arrangement, given the proximity of the housing, the power of the weapons they're using, it's just a problem waiting to happen. And hopefully both towns can get together and get the state and or federal government involved. And I'm not interested in shutting the range down, but I'm just interested in making the range the sure of safety going forward.
Yeah, they have to limit the vertical angle of the barrel. Again, I taught engineering dynamics for probably 12 semesters, and we always got into projectiles. And Dick, you know this from your education. It's pretty simple mechanics with these things. So you keep the barrel at a low angle, it's not going to go as far.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
I will
right.
make the call and let's see where they go. But for sure, in my view, having the people that are the potential, the aggrieved people have their town saying, we're gonna take the lead to protect our people. Granby, we're asking or begging or demanding that you guys come and help us. Then that opens the door to look for more help.
Okay,
I will attempt to do that.
all right, thanks.
Okay. The next thing we have is a complaint. I did drive by it. Actually, we got a couple complaints. One is the leftover from the last meeting, and that was a shed behind Subway. It's not on this list, but it was my assignment. And if you go in the parking lot of Subway and drive to the northwest, so probably at the direction towards Circle Drive, and go on this little dirt road. And when you get in there, there's an old building. And I didn't see any people. There are some power lines that went out there. The police complained about it. You can't see it from Subway. There's a lot of trash around it. I don't know what, just miscellaneous kind of trash. Maybe, I don't know if I saw refrigerators, but there were cartons, crates, basically kind of maintenance kind of operations waste back there. I don't know who owns it, what we want to do about it. Do we want to have Colleen find out who owns the property and then order them to clean it up? The police were concerned enough to ask us to do something about it. What do you think, Lee and Bill? What do you think?
Did you look on Google Earth to see if how long it's been there?
Oh, if you told me it was there for 50 years, I would say you're probably right.
Oh, okay. Because I know there's a bunch of tires and junk cars and stuff way out there, and they've been there for years and years
Yeah,
and
this
years.
one looks almost like a Quonset.
Okay. Well, for starters, let's have Colleen find out who the owner is. And then
Yeah.
maybe we'll contact them and have them come to a board meeting and we can chit chat with them.
Yeah, or else, yeah, you're right.
Right.
Yeah, we have
Is that what you think, Lee?
another,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. And another similar situation, which is about to come to light, I'm guessing, is on the corner of New Ludlow and Morgan. That house, I think it's a trailer converted to a house.
Yeah, that's getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse.
Well, I went by just by mistake last night.
Yeah.
Towards Chicory, and it's getting to be unbelievable.
Yeah. Last year it wasn't that bad. I think we all thought they had a tag sale going on, but it's clearly not a tag sale at this point.
That's the one where the guy died, I think.
Yes.
I believe that's correct.
Yes.
So
Yeah. I don't know if there's even an owner over there anymore.
it looks
I
like
think
there's activity. It looks like there are people that are living there.
I think there's a woman there.
Colleen, can you find out who owns that one? And maybe we can see if we can clean that up. And then the next one is the one I went to as the result of your complaint that you received, Colleen. That was a 63 East Street. And that one it's just overwhelmed when you get there. There's stuff growing, trees growing out of it. And it's a duplex with in fact, it's got a couple solar panels on its roof that look like they're for hot water.
That's next to the house that Leo fixed up, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's the house with 2 feet of water in the basement. Yes, I know
Yeah.
which one you're talking about. Yep.
Do we if we had a building inspector, maybe you'd start with him for housing code violations. Maybe we
Yeah,
should
my-
do that. Maybe we can get Colleen and ask her to have the building inspector look at that one.
Yeah, yeah, send Tom Quinlan down. You know, I'll go down with him. It's around the corner from me. That would be fine. My understanding is that person has always paid their taxes, interestingly enough. Even in that state of disrepair, they're still paying their taxes from what I understand.
That sounds like
Yeah,
the one over there on the corner of New Ludlow Road and East Street that we used to call it Nellie Bly or Nellie.
Oh, Nellie Blue. Yeah, Nellie Blue's house. Yes, out in the swamp. Yes, Dick, I remember that.
I think it's still there.
It is. It is. When I was in the Board of Health back in the 80s, I remember I did a couple of things over there. That's exactly right.
I'll bet these are on the list of the buildings that the fire chief has just asked us about and say, what do we do to get now they've become a fire hazard on top of that.
Right.
yeah.
Mhm.
The last one on the same list, if you will, is School Street in the 150 block range. Somebody has a rather healthy collection of, looks like metal, maybe aluminum, but a lot. One of the neighbors had mentioned it to me, not to stir the pot and have a range war with the neighbor, but it's been there for a long, long, long time. Large collection. And maybe it's all aluminum. I'm not sure if it's an investment scheme or what it is, but it's getting large.
Do you know what the address is?
It's, I don't know if it's on the same site as Dennis Smith's house, which is the odd numbered side, but it's in that block of houses there over by Dennis Smith, the Kennedy house, Poulin's over there. I don't know the exact number, but it's right in there.
If we can get
And
that
that-
number, maybe Colleen can get that name and let's see if we can go after them all. Colleen, maybe you can
Yeah,
also get on these junky ones, get in touch with the fire chief and ask him what he'd really like to do, what his thoughts were, because he's actively trying to do something about these. You know, one of these is trash that we're talking about, but then the other is these safety things, that the abandoned houses that. I think there's another one in the on Sherwood, the corner of Sherwood and East Street too. So if we can start looking at the trash ones that we can go after, and then the building, maybe through the fire department, get the building inspector on the ones we know. The next thing that I have on my list is 11 Meadow Glen. I got two and I don't know what these are, but 11 Meadow Glen, I do know that one was one, and maybe 12 Pine Brook Circle, maybe those are both ones that have 4 foot, that the Title V inspector said 4 foot water table.
Yeah, those are the ones, and I just had people calling me about what was going on with those, so.
Lee,
uh,
have you gone in on 11 Meadow Glen?
Yes, I met John Kopinski there, did a deep hole test. Went down probably 8+ feet. Well-drained sand, no issue.
So that 4 feet is not the water table there.
No. Past that.
So was Kapinski gonna send a note in to us saying that the water table was greater than 8 feet?
I mentioned that to him, was working for Peretti.
Huh.
And I asked him to, when he was done his logging of the hole, the board a copy. However, that's not the case at 12 Pine Brook Circle. The water separation from the bottom of the system, the water table determination, the deep hole, probably within 2 or 3 inches.
Oh, so that one really does have to be replaced.
That's problematic right now. You got that stream out back.
Yeah.
Older tank, no distribution box. It went right into some type of a 30 or 40 odd foot chamber of some type.
Huh.
Mounded, but it's, the water table is right underneath it.
Okay, so do we, given from what we know, do we send the people at 11 Meadow Glen and say that the water table that we observed is sufficient to pass a Title V inspection? Do we, if you,
We could, if you want to. My only reservation is that the house may have already changed hands based upon that data. I don't know why the board didn't receive a copy of it, but I think that the bank must have.
okay.
But again, I don't know for sure.
But if the board has sent a letter saying you have to replace your SAS, and we see an 8-foot water table, we should be doing something saying we no longer require that to be replaced because of water table.
Agree.
Otherwise,
Well, maybe
we've got something
maybe-
sitting out there as an order that's incorrect.
Okay, so maybe then if Colleen has a moment, she could reach out to John Kopinski and he could send data on both locations, possibly.
Yeah,
One which has been resolved and one which needs to be resolved.
yeah. So 12 Pine Brook, we stand by with a system that's within an inch of the water table and sand. That's not doing anything.
Agreed.
And we stand by that order and we rescind the other one.
I would agree with that.
Okay. The of 12 Pine Brook was in the office today getting a list of engineers. So they're in the process of trying to find someone to design a system.
Okay.
What's the separation on that one? 1 inch, that's it?
Yeah, 1 or 2 inches. I question whether you could tell the difference between 0 and 2 inches. of
Well,
sand.
that's right, that's right.
So, okay, so that's done. What other things? We've got stuff here. We're at 9 o'clock now. Oh, we got some stuff. The water table one, let's skip for right now. That there was an interesting issue that I guess it doesn't really matter right now with it turns out that's on at the Window World place. That my concern was that they ended up they hired whoever, whether it's Caffarelli or whoever it is, decided that they would hire someone as the board's representative to be the board witness for a water table that, or a soil evaluation, they would hire and determine who would be the board's representative. They would have the test done and not tell the board they were doing it.
Well, that's a
And they-
conflict, Dick, that's a conflict of interest right off the bat, obviously.
Well, that's
It's
what,
not,
if you look at.
it's not an independent third party
Yeah, and it,
because they're,
without the
they're
board,
compensating, they paid Kinnicky to do the work. That's right.
it turned out that the reason I didn't pursue it is apparently Kernicki said that it was exactly the same soil log as the one that I witnessed, and they didn't apply for a variance. So it doesn't matter. They didn't need the second, as long as they weren't applying for a water table separation variance. They didn't need a member of the Board of Health that it was a soil evaluator.
Mhm.
And but the fact that they would go and say, we're going to be the ones that decide who your representative is, and we're not going to tell you it's going to be that we're doing it.
That's not the way the code's written. The code is very specific in that language.
Yes. So, and again, where Jill says, oh, Dick Bombardier doesn't know anything about Title V. They were in fact correct, as I said, that one, for some reason, the Presby system, the state says you do not need the 5 foot of fill around the Presby system. I have no idea why that would be the only system they do that to, but that in fact is correct. You don't need that. But
Yeah,
and I said that.
that's how that approval was negotiated with the state.
That's right. And I said, you are correct. But the rest of them, well, we heard that.
Whatever.
So,
It was somewhat disappointing, the approach of the hired staff to argue the case, that didn't forward, those minor corrections and argue the point was a little disappointing from my perspective. As far as professionally and representing the client, didn't work out too well.
yeah, and as it turns out, Mr. Caffarelli was involved with two systems at the time he got involved with that one. The first one was on across from East Meadow, from the grammar school.
Right. There's
West Street
Brunetti.
School.
Yeah, this Brunetti's project, right?
Yeah, and it turns out that that's the one that Caffarelli, again, little point, didn't talk about the wetland. And it ends up that the soil that was in the system was hydric soil, where he was gonna put it. And where he said was sand was all smashed up ledge. And again, stuff that just, what was in the ground, the other engineer that came in to look at it said, what in the world? That's why I suspect Caffarelli didn't write down for us all to see what was in the ground, is because what he said was in the ground wasn't at all what's in the ground. But
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
so anyways, if we go into this at 9 o'clock with water table stuff, we're gonna be.
Well, this
In a bind.
yeah.
But
I think,
we've got a couple things we absolutely have to do, though. One is Dickinson selling pasta that says the label on it is filled with wild mushrooms. And not saying where it was made and what the ingredients were, but which is definitely not up to code. You're not supposed to put that in the refrigerator and not have a sell-by date, who it was made by, what's in it. And,
Well, who picked the mushrooms?
oh, yeah, well, that's right.
That's another problem.
Well, that's right. If you're lucky,
They
it
could be,
just makes
they
you
could be
high. If
poison
you're not-
mushrooms for crying out loud.
If you're not lucky, it's not makes you high, it makes you dead.
That's right. That's right.
But the issue is that apparently Lynn told them not to sell this stuff and they're continuing to sell it. So what do we do here? My feeling is if Lynn says you can't sell this stuff and they continue selling it, then you shut them down. Then tell them that.
Gonna have
take this-
to.
You take this and that she should tell them, if you don't get this out of your store now, immediately, while I'm standing here, get it out of here and throw it away. Then
Mhm.
we're gonna shut you down. And that's it. That's all we have to do. Let's have someone die from eating mushrooms. He told Lynn apparently that they buy them from some restaurant and just repackage them and sell them. But what do you think we do, Lee and Bill? What should we do with it, guys doing that stuff?
Well, I mean, the food code clearly states, as both you guys know, that dating, ingredients, et cetera, are minimum requirements. And I understand they're trying to profit from this. But you know, the $20 they're going to make on this thing is not worth the grief of having somebody get sick. And it
So the,
doesn't mean.
yeah, no,
No, go
excuse
ahead.
me, Lee. No, excuse me. So if they're packaging it, Dick, it must come through with a sell date on the original packaging, I would guess.
We don't
And I
know
hope
that.
And I hope the heck they're not modifying the sell date.
They're not doing, from what Lynn says, there's nothing on it. It's just a magic marker saying wild mushrooms.
Wow. That's dangerous.
So it seems to me that Lynn ought to just go in and say, get this out of here now.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't have anyone get hurt on that. That's bad. That's bad.
No, they should probably remove product from sale and either return it and or destroy it. And if they want to have a little airtime with the board in 2 weeks, that's fine.
Yeah.
But
It-
for the
What
immediate,
is it? Is it like mushroom ravioli, something like that?
That's what it sounded like to me.
Okay, so it's pasta shells loaded with mushroom product. Oh, brother.
You don't know anything about it. You don't know what kind of conditions they could be doing it in their barn for all we
That's
know.
right.
You don't know
That's
anything
right.
about it.
That's right. And again, the fact that it's wild mushroom, it's probably some amateur mushroom tier out there picking mushrooms out in a swamp somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
yeah, not a great idea.
Yeah. I agree, Dick.
Yeah. So Colleen, that's what we do. We have Colleen, Lynn go in and say, you get them out of here while I'm standing here. And if they give her any grief, you just say, we're gonna shut you down.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, that way it gets her off the hook. I guess she's a customer there, which is fine. But it's a board directive to her. So she's not the hatchet man. We are. What are you
The
what are you
next
supposed to
one,
do?
we've got two other things that we have to cover tonight. One
Yep.
is our friend at Union Mart. He has now got a second violation for selling to a minor. And he also is selling contraband type stuff. So that, do we just send him his note saying that this time it's his, Colleen digs out the last one about the second violation and say, you've done it, you've got a chance for a hearing, and here's what the fee, and you're losing your license for a week. Is that what we do here?
Just as a matter of interest, on Granby Road in Chicopee, right next to the Granby Elks, which is across the street from the Knights of Columbus, there's a Union Mart. And I bet you it's the same owner.
Could be.
So again, I think this fellow owns a bunch of stores. So he should know the rules. He should know the rules,
Well, he certainly knows the rules from since the last time he talked to us.
you know.
But
Is
on
this
this one,
guy financially current with us, Colleen?
No, he's been paying on the, when he didn't have the license,
Yeah.
and he owes, I think he'll owe $400 in August to finish that off. He paid the $1,000 for that first violation, but
Yeah.
now $400, and then whatever this ends up being, if this is, this says second violation, fine of $2,000 and a 7-day suspension. Yeah.
Mm.
now he's
So,
got
how do-
another violation. He's got another violation for selling this contraband stuff. So what do we do with that one?
what's that? Yeah.
Is that something tobacco control should go in and seize as part of their range of activity? I mean, how do we get the stuff off the shelf?
Yeah, specifically, Dick, is he selling cigarette papers or is he selling controlled substances?
He's selling, Colleen, it's flavored, it's papers and flavored
Yeah, like
tobacco
he
products.
wrappers, hemp wraps, cigars, flavored items.
Oh, okay.
cigar.
So
So,
he's targeting
and-
the
yeah.
youth with these products.
Yeah,
What
that's
he's
the
doing.
young people. Okay, I got you.
Right. So, yeah, okay. So what agency, forces that removal? Should we, reach out to tobacco control for assistance in this, or I'm not sure how to proceed?
That's what I would do, I think. So when you get Colleen to send the letter saying
Yeah.
that he's got the second violation, because that's straightforward. That's just the law.
Yep.
And then we reach out to, who is it, Meredith we reach out to? Whoever it is, Colleen, and say, what are we supposed to do here?
Yeah.
And see what we're gonna do.
I thought you
Okay.
couldn't sell those in the state at all.
You can't.
Meredith had advised, oh, go ahead. Meredith had advised, of finding him for this, because they went in to check to see what he was doing, and he was selling these things. So, I mean, I imagine they told him at that point he had to get rid of it. I don't know if he did. So she did say we should find him, and then the state, she was sending something in this to see if the state was going to find him also, I guess.
So my question then, Colleen, is did this complaint that we're seeing come from Meredith or from another
Yeah.
party?
Yes, no, this came from, well, someone sent a complaint to, I guess, to Northampton, or somehow
Yep.
it got to Meredith, and
Yep.
they went in and they did a follow-up and said that, and listed the things he was selling that he wasn't supposed to. So, and
Yep.
she said, oh, should fine him for these. The board should, so.
Okay. Well, then, since they're already cognizant of what's going on, then can we just request that her, whatever, her division, her staff, when really there, force, the immediate removal, if it's still in the store, because it can't be in the store. If it's in the store, they're gonna sell it.
So can we,
Yeah. and this
can
doesn't
we
really
ask
say-
for, can we ask for another inspection, Colleen?
Okay, sure, yep. See if it's still on the shelves. I'll find out. It just doesn't say on this paperwork whether they did anything. It just said, yes, that's what he was selling. And then
Dick,
as far as,
No, go ahead, Colin.
as far as this, the second violation, it says, and a 7-day suspension. Do we tell him exactly, you know, like, you give him a date, or?
He has a right to appeal it, so we have to let him have his chance to appeal.
Appeal, yep.
So we
Yeah.
can't get rid of it, can't suspend him until he's appealed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dick, say he has a third selling to a minor violation. Is he out of luck after the third violation?
Colleen can look that up.
It says a fine of $5,000 and it's left blank, a blank day suspension. So another suspension, but I don't know, there's nothing in there, so.
So
'Cause
maybe,
I should imagine.
This guy's just he's piling up the fines.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, because this one here, plus the first one was 1,000, right?
Yep.
right,
Now is $3,000 just into fines.
Mhm.
And if he throws on the third one, that's $8,000.
That's right. That's right.
That's gonna be the end of that. I can't imagine.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna have a new owner.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
the
yeah.
point. So he'll end up bailing at that point.
He stopped in to pay, you know, to drop off a couple checks, and he said that, does the state have to keep coming in because it's really bad for my business?
Yeah.
It's bad for business because you're getting caught doing something illegal.
It's scaring the kids away.
What the heck is wrong with this guy? Unbelievable. That statement speaks volumes.
Mhm.
The guy
So-
can't be that naive. Jesus.
I'm thinking once we really understand what he's done, maybe we fine him for each one of the things that he did separately. Instead of saying, oh, you're selling illegal stuff, just whack him. At some point, he's gonna think, I would hope he thinks it's better to follow the law than pay the fines.
Mhm.
You would think.
You know, so Getty Station closed, of course, because of business. So we had a convenience store at the Getty Station that's closed. And if this guy closes, we'll have one convenience store in town then. It'll be Cumberland's. That will be it.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Okay, our last item. What are we gonna do? We've got Nish's deed restriction. And as I read it, it's being done in a loose way that they just say, oh, let's not sell this, okay? Instead of they wrote a thing about lot one, and I went back to the attorney. You guys didn't see it, but I went back to the attorney and said, you guys have written a thing saying that Mish can't sell lot one unless they do something with the well, but she can actually sell lot two without having the well on lot two. They can sell the house. You don't have any deed restriction there. And then the attorney sent out she sent another note that I got and Colleen got, because I'm afraid to send it to you guys because I don't want to violate the open meeting laws. So what I said to Mish and the lawyer, I said, this isn't a joke. That we've got a well that's not on the property, that's supposed to be on the property. And now you've got a deed restriction that says you can't sell lot two, but you can, or lot one, but you don't say you can't sell lot two, and there's no well on lot two. And it's serious about trying to think about all the trouble you can get into. The real solution is to put the right well on the right lot. But
Those documents, Dick, for each lot should be mirror images of each other. Those should be mirror image documents.
that's right. And they
didn't craft them. The lawyer didn't write it that way.
No, then the lawyer then said,
Oh,
Mish, maybe you need to go to a lawyer that's got a specialty in municipal law and land stuff. I think they've got a lawyer, it appears, that doesn't really understand the concept of, or it's not an expert in putting restrictions on deeds and trying to stop people from doing things that they're not supposed to. And in fact, I said, why don't you, for the short term, why don't you just put a 20 by 20 square, even though you make the lot one be non-conforming, just put a square there that the lot belongs to lot two, and lot one is non-conforming. Put 4 pins, and when you go to sell lot two, then make your deed go to the 2 pins that goes in a straight line and deed it back to the other lot. And you can't sell lot one as a building lot because it's non-conforming, but you've already said you don't want to sell it. And it's crazy stuff. But I don't know what we do. It's a mess. And if in my view, when you pass on a mess,
if we don't straighten it out and she goes to sell it in 15 years and none of us are on the Board of Health, the new board's going to be scratching their head.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And it's a thing that we tried to convince her that, and I even talked to Neil, and I said, Neil, can't you just say, you spend $500,000 on a house and you're arguing about a $16,000 well? Why don't you fix it? And it's not like you're throwing the $16,000 away. You're just going to give it, it's going to add the price into the price of the lot on the other lot.
Yeah.
And you're spending all this money and time on lawyers instead of fixing the problem.
Right. I thought that would have been a cleaner situation, but apparently it isn't.
No, and I had said, well, is there a way that you can just say these 2 lots have to stay in common ownership? If you did that, if you just say they have to stay in common ownership until the 2 wells are installed, that seems simple to me, but apparently that's not what they want to do.
Okay.
Well, okay, so that being said, if Colleen wrote a really brief letter to her attorney with that statement, would that bring this thing to a close?
You mean just to say they need to stay in common ownership?
Term ownership until the second well is installed.
That certainly seems like that's an easy statement.
But they
Yeah,
don't
she
want to
doesn't-
do it.
Well, I don't know that they
They
don't
don't
want
wanna
to
do
do it.
I mean,
No, we already-
it's up to you guys, of course. I'm just trying to think of the simplest thing to do here. And if we just send her a letter telling her what to write, all she's got to do is photocopy it, sign it, and send it back. Then
Yeah,
we're
and-
done.
And get it filed and just say these two properties have to stay in common ownership.
Until at such point in time the second well has been drilled,
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
yeah, maybe
I mean,
that's
I don't
all.
know how else to do it.
That
Yeah,
certainly
that's-
seems like the simplest way to do it. And it doesn't
Mhm.
sound like it's, it doesn't sound like it conflicts with what Mish wants to do. The problem that we get into is if there's something we don't understand, that there's something else in the works here. But if, Colleen, do you know what we just said? We just said that it appears to us that if you just put a deed restriction that said lot 1 and lot 2 must remain in common ownership until lot 2 has a well installed on it that's dedicated to the dwelling on lot 2.
That's dedicated to the
Dwelling
dwelling.
on lot 2.
And lot 2, yeah.
Let's just be clear. So lot 2 is the lot which she currently wants to build the house, correct?
That the house is on. It's there.
Okay, okay. And lot 1 is to the
Yeah.
south. Okay,
Right.
I got it.
Yeah. She is living in the house on lot 2 right now.
Oh, she's in the house. Okay.
Without an occupancy permit.
But the leach field's done, right?
It's done.
Okay.
It's done. Yeah.
Okay, I'll send them that statement.
Yeah, and hopefully she can just nod her head, sign it, and mail it back,
Well, it has to get
And-
filed.
filed. Yeah, okay, file up in Northampton at the Registry of Deeds.
That's
So
right.
it ends up having to be filed on both lots.
I believe the homeowner can do that filing, I think. I really don't know.
I don't
Save some
know.
money.
I don't know.
But Bill's point is correct, that if this is not addressed despite the repetitiveness of the nature, if we don't clean this thing up now, it's never gonna end.
That is exactly right. It's never going to
Yeah.
end.
Yep. Yeah. In 15 years, someone's going to be listening to this video and saying, oh, these guys 15 years ago. Let's get it. Let's
That's
just get
exact-
this finished.
In reality,
Yeah.
when you look back at this thing, I think I'm sorry we didn't just say, the regulation says the house is on lot 2, you need a well on lot 2, and you don't have it. Put the thing in and it's all done forever and ever. It's done.
Yeah.
And,
Oh,
and
yeah, I mean, we're trying to be flexible, we're trying to be good neighbors, and we all have bite marks now.
Listen,
on our-
no good deed goes unpunished.
Absolutely.
yeah. And by the way, we've never heard on the lot that's on that Window World lot, we've never seen, everybody says, oh, the Stewart family won't sell the property for the septic system that they
Mhm.
promised that they would sell. We've never seen anything from a lawyer saying that's the truth. We've
That's
never
right.
seen anything from
Yep.
anybody.
Yeah, we're actually dealing with that on conservation on a bunch of projects. People just hand wave and say, oh, I asked the neighbor, they won't sell me the land. They have to have that done by a bona fide source. That's exactly right.
Yeah, and then they say, oh, you know, what's her name? I forget what Mrs. Stewart's first name was, but they said, oh, she
Alice.
died. Well, she died, what, 5 years ago now? And to think that property hasn't been dispositioned, I'll bet it has.
The son's a lawyer.
There's-
The son's an
the
attorney.
son was, yeah, he was living on 202,
Yeah,
right? A couple houses down from that property.
yeah. So we've never heard a
So-
single thing from a lawyer saying we tried to do this. This is somebody just saying, oh yeah, we can't do that. Well, maybe they can't do that. But again, they say, oh, we'll decide the same thing. We'll decide we're gonna change the house from 4 bedrooms to 3. They're the ones that said 4 bedrooms, not us. So,
Right.
so it, again,
And the engineer's yelling because you don't understand Title V.
yeah. And say, oh, well, that's right. You don't understand this little thing about 5 feet of sand that they did on Presby. And they're right. I didn't. I made a mistake. I told them I made a mistake. But the rest to say, it's okay. We're putting in a design that we're not putting a filter going into a pump chamber. We're not putting a baffle on in between. That's Title V. That's not, we're not
Yeah,
supposed to have to
yeah.
find those mistakes.
Right.
No, they have the Whip Smart engineering firm of Western Mass at their beck and call.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, then I guess it's now 9:30, after 9:30. I guess we're gonna pack it in, huh?
Okay, folks.
Mhm.
Hey, thank you.
Our-
Lot
our
of
next-
fun. A lot of fun. Thank you again.
Our next meeting
Totally.
is a week
August
from
1st.
Tuesday, August 1st.
August 1st. Okay, very
Okay.
good.
August
Okay.
1st.
Okay,
Okay,
good
All right,
night,
folks.
everybody.
Thank
Good
you,
night,
everybody.
everybody.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Good night. Okay, bye.